Welcome back to the SR Challenge Beginner's Guide. In the last episode, we went and did an actual boss challenge. It's sort of a boss challenge. It was an offshoot battle. And then we also covered some of the elements on the UI HUD here with the stamina, covering different elements of the Path of Light and the encouragement that you should have when going through it. Now we're going to be looking at tackling Chapter 2 at the Kalzath Forest, so let us begin. Alright, so let's get into this map and see what we got. What are we going to be learning today?
You have the guts to fight against the holy army of the Empire.
Okay, so our units are approaching on the left here on the west side.
The Hyborian Church spreads evil in the name of God.
Okay,
Time to go.
so looks like we have some enemy units here. It looks like they possibly have, I believe according to the story, and Angelica here is being taken hostage, and we are the accompaniment that's going to flank the enemy, take them out. Now, interestingly enough, this is where we're going to cover the first point, is about treasures. This one is blanketly out in the open. Let's zoom out so that we can see everything going on here. So, in maps, you will find that there are going to be hidden treasures. This one's quite open and quite obvious to see. I'll definitely be covering every hidden treasure as we cover the maps and whatnot. So let us just jump right into this. So we have one sword unit, two lancers. That means actually Grenier here is going to be a little bit less useful than Matthew. So let's turn our danger zone on, figure out where they're going, look at their skills. They don't have any because this is early level stuff, so we just move forward and we'll attack on the next turn. We're not going to move Grenier all the way up just because we don't want him getting attacked by that infantry units. Awesome. Okay, so he notices the chest, which I've already pointed out before. So we are going to, and there's a lot of fourth wall breaking in this game, so if you're interested in any of that, you should definitely check it out. So I'm going to have Matthew go in here, and to play it safe, actually, we're going to have Matthew attack this infantry unit.
Exactly.
Now you might be thinking, Ages, why are you doing that? He's effective against that unit. That's because when Grenier comes down here and activates his skill, he won't be attacked by, because that guards for 2 block. He'll be able to pick up the item and guard in that range, and he won't be taking extra damage. So it's a useful skill to attack opponents that maybe you're not strong against.
Don't try to escape.
So here we go. We guard. So we got 2 range guard, and we picked up the item. I think they're friendship vouchers. So just to be safe, we're going to put Almeida here. You can have her at a 2 range distance. She puts a debuff on the unit, but it doesn't really matter in this guard. So Grenier here does what he does. Tanks for everybody. So at this, we're looking at pretty much winning this fight. So we're just going to have Matthew just beat up the rest of them. And then we'll have Grenier pop in around. And that's Chapter 2, everybody. Again, pretty easy. We're getting through these chapters pretty quick. Once we get through the tutorials, then it's going to be kind of more episodic in the sense of getting through the missions and how you can do that best, as well as what items you can expect. So we get another level up, more stamina. Got an item for it. Look at that. We got even a Trinity voucher and Trinity crystals. Those are good. Like I said, when you're completing story missions, it's pretty easy, pretty fast to get through them. This is Angelica here. She's talking about, I think she's going to be talking about equipment. No, she's going to be talking about summoning, which is great. This is going to be a second part of what we're going to be doing, summoning. So they're going to do a mandatory summon. This is a summon that you can't, you have to do. So, goodbye Trinity voucher. So when you summon, it comes up with the goddess Luricious, I believe is how you pronounce her name. Luricious? I'm going to go with Luricious. It sounds nicer. So what you do is you just flick the screen, draw an A, draw a star, circle, I don't care. Draw your mother's portrait, it doesn't matter. So here we get an SR, which is actually quite rare to get on a single. But as always with everybody who starts out the game, you always get an SR unit on your first draw, and it's always going to be Lance. Lance is a guaranteed unit that you're going to be pulling. So we confirm that, and we go, oh, that's super awesome. Thank you so much for Lance. Lance is actually a really good unit. You just have to invest in him. Alright, so we're going to skip through this stuff. Now we're going to do a friendship summon. And don't worry, we're already going to be doing summoning, so we can share and all that stuff. Just to show you guys how it works. And then Scott. Scott is always guaranteed for a friendship summon on your tutorial. As you will find out down the line, it will always change when you do it for the actual randomness. Yes, hello Lance. Thank you for joining our team. Scott, also, welcome to the team. Welcome to the entourage. It's a little saying I do. It came about when I started streaming Suikoden. I always really liked that at the very beginning of Suikoden, they welcomed you to the entourage. And I was like, man, that's better than joining a party. And then that just became my thing. Alright, enough about me, more about the game. So now that we've got our summon done, let's go ahead and check out our new character. So we got Lance here. Lance is really great. I guess we can quickly kind of cover... You know what? Now that we've got new characters, let's quickly cover them. Matthew's a good character. He comes with a faction buff. If you take him down his line of hero, he will pick up the Scions of Light. So it's for all the protagonists in the game, and one of the cool things you can do to find out where all the units line up is you click on the factions at the info tab, and it tells you every unit that you have, that it's highlighted in a lighter color, what units you have and what faction they're a part of. So this is all the protagonist factions, and if you notice any of the rainbow borders of the character's avatar little icon here, that means they are SSR units. So that means they are very, very rare. The gold lining is for SR units, and then these bronze ones, or silver for rare, are normal and rare. The only units that are normal are Matthew, Almeida, I don't know why her name skimped on my head, and then Grenier. They are the three normal, but they progress as their star levels gain into their rank, so they can potentially become SSR units. Since we're doing an SSR challenge, we would never make them SSRs. Or SR challenge, sorry. What am I saying? Another cool thing here, we'll cover this, is that you can actually get different costumes for your units. So, you can change it however you would like. And then you can see here, if you did the Epic Eatery event, you can get different costumes. It's really cool. Change up your look and all that stuff, show off, you know, whatever you gotta do. So, that's Matthew. Matthew is not bad. We were covering his classes. His hero class is average. It's not bad. It's not good. Sword Dance is not... You don't really want to use Sword Dance. His ideal move comes with him from the very beginning, which is this Air Slash, which allows his melee units... He allows them to attack from range. He doesn't have great defenses. His attack is pretty decent. His he can be very useful, but you want to use him at range. Shadow Matthew is touted as one of the worst. He could be decent in PvP maybe, but I don't play a lot of PvP, so I wouldn't be the person to ask for that. Now, let's move on. We got Grenier here. Grenier is, he's decent, but the problem with him is his tenacity. His skill here only activates after he's been in combat, so it doesn't allow him to get any bonuses before combat. It's all after combat. So he's got to deal with the rough side of starting combat, and then afterwards he gets the buff, and then you're ready to kind of rock and roll. So he gets increased attack and defense after turns, can be stacked, but again, it's only after combat, and that's what kind of makes it a little bit difficult to use. So out of the three, he's typically viewed as the worst. He's only got one tier 3 class, but he does come with a Legion of Glory faction buff. So if you're going to be running Legion of Glory, definitely the faction you want to go after. Again, you would never want to stick with Highlander or Bow Knight for him because they're only tier 2 classes. You want to go for the tier 3 classes. So he's a tank, leave him as a tank. Next, we have Lance. Let's cover Lance real quick. Now, Lance is interesting. He gets a bonus when fighting flyers and cavalry units, which, not bad. It's very vanilla skill. There's no weirdness about it. It's just a flat, you attack a flyer, you attack a cavalry unit, boom, he gets stronger. His initial skill is Wind Whisper, which is, again, not the greatest move. You don't want to put AoE moves on melee units a whole lot. You can. It can be useful in some categories. But this skill here that he'll pick up, Lightning, is significantly better. With that 1.5 damage, if you eliminate a target, reduces the cooldown by 3. When it only has a cooldown by 3, it's an amazing skill. You can pump this off every round so long as you kill a unit. He is really good in that regard. Then you have two options here. You have your Dragon Master class, which is actually canonical to his final class in Langrisser 1, if you're ever interested in playing that game. And it comes with his own faction buff, Imperial Blaze. So he has the faction buff for the Empire, which is pretty nice. It also comes with defense Intimidate, which allows him to, build the defense of his allies. You can also make him a Royal Knight. And the cool thing is you want to look at these key stats. So attack, defense, and HP play into it, as well as his Dragon Master class, which has attack and skill. So depending on how you want to run, you got more range. They're all one range, but you have movement. So all movement is 5 between the classes, but one's air and one is land. So you kind of want to play with what you want to take. He doesn't have the greatest troops. Maybe he gets something better in his unlockable training, but as far as what he gets through his class up's not amazing. Now this skill is actually pretty good. First aid can be really, really nice. Allow him to fully heal himself every 3 rounds. Is a decent skill, especially if you can pull it off. So going down the swordsman class is not a bad idea with him. For his Royal Knight class, he gets Ram, which is right here. We're not going to cover every skill. We're just going to kind of go over it real quick. He gets Attack Command, which is nice. It can work very nicely with Defense Intimidate. Reducing their defense. Reducing the enemy's defense, which could be pretty cool. And then Charge. So every movement increases his damage. So again, not the most. He's not Leon, guys. If you're starting out on this game, you might not know who Leon is. Leon is touted and famously known as the best knight of Langrisser. There are memes and all kinds of stuff. But great unit. Lance here is good, but not amazing. He can be good. He can be great, but he's never going to acquire amazing. So next we have Almeida here. Almeida is going to be our healer because that's the only one we got. She's pretty decent because she does debuffs for random enemies or enemies within a certain range. It can be random. And then she also heals a friendly unit anywhere on the map after her turn ends. So pretty nice extra heal for any unit that is suffering from weakness. You have her Martyr class, which is her high-ranking class. That's the class you're going to take her down. Bishop for doing a little bit more damage, having a little bit better defense, and then you also have Resist, which is not bad. So you're mainly going to run her as a healer / debuffer party attack healer. She's kind of a weird mix. She's a good unit though. She's worth it. Now we got Scott here. Scott here has an identity crisis. He wants to be a horse unit. He wants to run into the cavalry, or not cavalry, he wants to run into infantry and damage them and beat them all up, but he is very defensive. He wants to stack his defense, which is kind of weird. He's an interesting character. He can be pretty good. I haven't used him very much. He's an R unit, so his stats are a little bit lower, but not too bad. So we're going to look at his tree here. Again, he only has one, which is his Knightmaster class. Gives him move again, attack up for sure. He's got Assault, which is a great offensive move. He even comes with some defensive skills in the Vanguard line. And then he's also got Blast, which is a nice reducing damage. So he's very much looking at reducing damage taken when he engages into combat. So, and then you can read his talent there and everything. So that's the units we have so far. I don't know if we're going to be covering every single unit we get, but especially the units we're going to be using for sure. We can cover them as we go, but I figured we got 2 new units. Let's cover them. Okay, so now we need to move on to Chapter 3, but they did cover summoning, so we can actually start summoning. The recording is a little bit later, so I apologize, but we did pick up some extra stuff here. We got up to level 7, which is nice. If we use 100 stamina, we get more experience, so hopefully we get there. Alright, so we've got more stuff for stuff we've done. So now if we use 10 friendship vouchers, we'll get a bonus award, and if we complete 10 hero summons, we'll get even more rewards. So all this stuff will start building up. You don't have to worry about it. Next, make sure you check your Path of Light. Is there anything that we've done so far? No, it doesn't look like it. We can share after a hero summon. We can train some soldiers, add a friend. Again, I'm not 100% really looking at trying to get Sherry, so we won't necessarily be trying to do everything to get her, but if we do get her, she'll sit there in the barracks being very nice. Alright, a rose on the battlefield. So this is kind of a cool little, what can I say? It's a very cheap purchase. You can get you can easily get an SR unit with Narm. Narm is a fantastic SR unit that is able to kite flyers and damage other units and get out of there. Comes with a limited frame, gold, and stuff. Again, it's for those who want to purchase any type of upgrade, but if you're not really interested in purchasing an upgrade or spending money on the game, don't worry about it. You don't have to. You can more than likely pull her down the line. Okay. With that, let's talk about this here. Again, this is another place that you can find all your purchasable stuff. So it'll always pop up. It'll always have a new thing, but again, these are things for people that want to spend money on the game, that really want to back it, support it, or those who want to kind of get a little bit of a competitive edge. Again, the edge is very small. You're not going to be seeing giant leaps in any type of direction. But let's go ahead and knock out this one real quick before we end the episode. Alright, so this is where we're going to be learning on how to add units. So our team has expanded. Okay, so we have available heroes. You'll see them at the bottom here, and it'll show you in the top right corner how many heroes you have on the field and how many you can bring. It's pretty obvious. You shouldn't miss out on it. And then you also have a box for the battlefield info. It's actually quite important. So we'll cover that here. Oh, yes. Draglance. Okay. So here we see that we have 5 heroes on the field now. Before we had 4. Our power level of total deployment has gone up. We have our information on the left there. But we also have the battlefield info. Number of star requirements. You want to get 3. Defeat all enemies and your team is eliminated is the defeated conditions. Sometimes you end up with feats. There's no feats for this level, but again, important to read. You can also change your settings. We haven't really talked about that, but you got your music, sound effect, and voice. I'm not really sure what eco mode is, but I think it's a performance modifier. You can switch your voice from English to Japanese. We're going to be doing English for this, just so that you guys can get a little bit familiar with the English voice actors. I think they all do an awesome job. The Japanese, though, is phenomenal. Definitely don't want to skimp out on that. The battle animations, again, you can choose which ones. I don't know if we're high enough level for it. You can tap on the hero to end their turn, which we have because we're doing this on the PC. And then you have your different notifications, which we're not going to worry about. You can retreat and all that good stuff. But we're going to start the fight. The goal, defeat all the enemies. We have 10 rounds to do it. Okay, so this map, again, still pretty easy. We're still in the tutorial, but now they're kind of letting the reins off a little bit. We can kind of do what we want. So now we have an interesting situation here. Matthew is unable to get up close enough to fight. And we definitely don't want Grenier up there because he ain't going to be doing a whole lot. So instead, we're actually going to be using... We're going to use our new units. So we're going to have Lance come up here, and we're going to have him Wind Whisper. And it doesn't really matter where he does it because it's everything around him.
So embarrassing.
Boom. Nice little chunk of damage. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to kind of stop everybody by having Scott ram this unit. Now, if Scott can't kill this unit, which I really doubt Scott can't kill this unit, the unit would get pushed back two spaces and have a lower mobility because of ram. But we should be fine in taking out this unit. Good job, Scott. Alright, so. Doing pretty good. Now, we need to make sure we don't activate Grenier's skill. So we're just going to move him right here. And we want to move Almeida last so she can heal. Make sure everybody's stopped off for the next round. Cavalry comes in. We got the infantry trying to take out Lance, but Lance is just a little bit stronger than they are. Ooh, okay, so we have 2 more units that just popped on the field. They are archers. We want to be very careful when it comes to Lance because, according to our information here... Ooh, okay, so there's an information on the information screen. You have different tips you can do. Priority, guard, terrain. We've covered most of this stuff. Melee and range combat. Pretty self-explanatory. So, soldiers and heroes. Each hero has soldiers that fight for them, and they're part of their experience, or not experience bar, health bar. So, we'll go over that more once the training opens up. But for the most part, we can't change them anyways. AoE attacks, which we just used with... Lance here on the first unit before. So now Lance can't get in here and attack because these guys are we want to okay, so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we stay Lance out of their range because if Lance goes in their range, he's almost dead for sure. Flyers take a lot of damage from archers. So what we're gonna do is now is the time Grenier is gonna shine. So we're going to have him guard.
Don't try to escape.
And just to kind of like soften him up, we're going to have Matthew come in and he's going to use his range attack on these cavalry units. Not going to do a whole lot of damage. Going to do a nice little... Ooh, do more than a nice little chunk of damage. Okay. Next, we're going to heal up Lance. And then we're just going to have everybody just stay put.
Excuse me?
Actually, you know what? No. Hold on. Let's turn our danger field on. See, that's the problem with danger field. It lights up everything where the enemy can attack or move. So we just want to know his range and his range. So technically, we can move Scott up here. Scott can go ahead and run into this cavalry unit. Now again, we're going to be okay because Grenier here is guarding at 2 range. So we got to make sure that we're staying out of range. See, we can't even move over in this side, so we are going to end our turn. And that should cover us for keeping our units. And there goes Grenier, guarding. So the AI is definitely going to prioritize over attacking units that it's strong against, and even preferring healers and stuff, so... Just be mindful of that. So now we have a situation here where we are going to play very carefully. So we're going to heal up Scott because we want Scott to make sure that we do enough damage. We're going to have Grenier come up here and go ahead and just attack. He's going to be guarding for us, so we're not going to let those archers come down. Or he's just going to flat out kill them. Calm down, Grenier. Next, we're going to have Lance come in. Now, the Lance is going to be taking a little bit more damage because you can see the strong effect, but we're attacking in close range, so he shouldn't take as much damage. As you can see, he took a bit, but not a lot.
Time to go.
And then we move in Scott. Scott takes out the rest. Pretty simple. And that was that little chapter. All right. A little bit of reward, and off we go. Okay. Now they're talking about experience potions, which we've already covered. We'll go through the motion anyways. So they want us to level up Lance. So, there you go, Lance. We're actually going to level up Lance a little bit more. Same with Scott. Well, just because we're going to be using them a bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll get to that part. Alright, let's give Almeida a little bit more. There we go. Okay. And that is going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Click on the annotations if you would like to watch more. Otherwise, have a wonderful day.